Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Out of ammo, out of time. I'm your host as always, Krabby Terror 8, and here we are in episode 41 of season 2 of the Investigator Games with everybody's favorite spy and agency detective, Trish Scarborough. Yes, and for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Yes, what is the Investigator Games? Well, it's like the Hunger Games or the Squid Games, I guess. Each investigator, true solo, through a scenario. Now in season 1, that was The Gathering. So if you haven't seen those videos, at least Trish doing The Gathering, I would recommend you go back and have a look at those first, because we're in season 2, getting to the end of season 2 now, where we are taking each investigator through the Midnight Masks. And depending on how they go, we put them in a league table like this one. Yes, and we can see this league table. Here we are from top to bottom. And still Leo is winning the league table at the moment. These are the points from the Midnight Mass and the carryover points, victory points from The Gathering. So there's everybody there. And yes, Trish did okay in The Gathering. She didn't do as well as perhaps she would have hoped. She got 5 points, so not terrible, but she didn't do everything that she needed to do, and she didn't defeat the Ghoul Priest. So that does mean the Ghoul Priest is in the deck and could be drawn. So yes, she didn't manage to do that, but she did okay, and I'm hoping that she'll do okay in the Midnight Masks as well. Now, spoilers, if you are brand new to Arkham Horror, the card game, you've never played before, if you've never played the Midnight Masks before, I would recommend that you stop the video and go and seek out other introductory videos first. I'm assuming you know how to play at least a little bit, and that you've played the Midnight Masks before. I also have an in-depth video on the Midnight Masks and indeed The Gathering. They can be found on my channel, Out of Ammo, Out of Time. In-depth video essays on those two scenarios. I would recommend you have a look at those as well. So let's have a look at Trish Scarborough. We'll have a look at her stat line and things, and then I'll have a look at her upgraded cards that we've put in. So we will just start with her stat line. So yes, she's one of the Innsmouth conspiracy investigators. She is a rogue, although you wouldn't say she's a rogue in terms of being on the wrong side of the law. She's a spy, she's an agency, she's a detective. So that makes her a little bit different. If we have a look at her stat line, something else you can see here is that she's a min-max, really. She's maxed up on agility with a 4 and intellect with a 4, but her fight is just 2 and her willpower is just 2. So that immediately tells you that really Trish is going to be more about probably evasion and agility and intellect, so getting clues, that kind of thing. She's going to find straight up fighting more challenging, and she's also going to find the encounter deck somewhat challenging with her low willpower, especially when you combine that with her relatively low psychological strength of only 6. So yes, those are some of the challenges here. So she's probably, and we'll have a look at what card she can take, but she's like a seeker kind of rogue hybrid, I suppose is the best way to describe her. Now, her special ability, she has a reaction trigger that after you discover 1 or more clues at a location, so that's a very seeker thing, with an enemy, that's an important point, either discover an additional clue or automatically evade that enemy, and you can do that once around. So yes, she probably has those seeker style abilities, and so but also the ability to evade. So I suppose like Ursula is a little bit similar in that sense. Her Elder Sign effect is a juicy +2, which is pretty good. And if this is an investigation, you may choose any revealed location. You are now investigating as if you were at that location instead. So that could be really handy if there's a particularly location with a particularly high shroud and it's quite a way away from you. This would allow you to do that. So what I would say about Trish Scarborough is I wouldn't consider her a strong, true solo investigator, but I think she can be a really great support investigator, particularly if it's a multiplayer and there's already a seeker and you need a second clue getter. I think Trish Scarborough definitely meets that criteria and can take, all of the good old rogue cards that you would expect. So that's Trish in a nutshell. Pretty strong on physical strength, but a little bit weaker on the mental side. 6 is not as low as, say, a Roland on a 5, but it's still lowish. So you've just got to be a little bit careful about that. Now, if we just have a look at the other side of Trish's deck, standard deck sizes of 30. She can take rogue cards 0 to 5, neutral cards 0 to 5, and as we were talking about, seeker cards 0 to 2. So she can't get the higher level seeker cards, but she can do pretty good with seeker cards 0 to 2 in that way. Her deck building requirements, we'll talk about those in a moment. But here's a bit of a background for her. Trish had always excelled in both body and mind. Her unwavering focus on excellence and her fearless disposition a winning combination. Given her stellar academic and athletic records, everyone expected to see her become something great. Instead, Trish took a job at a commercial code company. The initial shock of her humble work eventually wore off, and the exceptional Trish Scarborough faded into obscurity. This suited Trish just fine, as it made it harder for anyone to realise the truth. Her job was a cover for her true work as a spy with the Black Chamber, the Bureau's code-breaking agency. Dun, 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 dun. So there we go. Very nice. So that's Trish Scarborough in a nutshell. So if we have a look now just at her deck, here it is, the Arkham DB deck. I'm just popping it up here on my iPad so I can look at it. So I'm not going to go through all the cards in her deck. Now, just a caveat here, all the investigators start the gathering with their official Fantasy Flight Games starter decks. Yes. Now, those starter decks assume you have a core set, and then you have the deluxe expansion that they're associated with. So that's where the cards are drawn from. I guess they're not ideal in terms of the card pool that they're drawing from. They're never optimized, and Trish is no exception. Her starter deck was a real mishmash of Seeker and Rogue cards, and so she had 5 XP to upgrade it. And yes, so we were able to do that. So a couple of things that I did. So I really had the Midnight Masks in mind while I was doing this. The first thing I did was I basically just took out Malign Christopher and gave her 2 upgraded Leo DeLucas. So that's the first thing I did. And the reason for that is the Midnight Masks, you really, if you can get a Leo DeLuca out early, that gives you a huge advantage over everybody else because you get an extra go. And in the Midnight extra action every round. So usually the Midnight Mask lasts about 10 or 12 rounds. So that gives you an extra 10 to 12 extra actions. So that's about 4 extra goes, which in the Midnight Masks is a huge amount. So that's the reason I've got those in there. I added in an extra Derringer, so now we have 2 25 automatics and 2.41 Derringers. So we have lots of weaponry that we can use. And to supplement that, I've also got a sneak attack and a backstab. So I've lots and lots of ways. So hopefully we can get weapons on board, and then we can get backstab and sneak attack. That means we should be able to take out the Masked Hunter, or indeed the Ghoul Priest. Those were the changes that I made. I took out the old Book of Lore. The reason I took out the old Book of Lore is it's a great card, but unfortunately in the Midnight Masks it's just too slow. You just don't have time. You've got to get it out. Then you lose a go every go using it. So, and I guess if we had Leo DeLuca, that would offset that. But really, there's just not enough time to use it. Malign Christopher I took out just in preference to Leo DeLuca. A Barricade, not a big fan of the Barricade. We took out the Switchblade, not a big fan of the Switchblade. And I took out a non-upgraded Leo DeLuca. It only costs 1 to upgrade, and it's just cheaper to bring out with only 5 instead of 6. So those were the changes that I made. I suppose I could have focused more on more deductions or working hunches and those sorts of things, but I focused more on ensuring we could fight. That was my preference because I think that's important. So don't know what you think about that. Let me know. Yes, now just quickly on her special cards, her special ability cards is called In the Shadows. So this is a no-cost event. It's got the usual 4 pips, 2 wild cards, 2 agility pips. Fast play after your turn begins. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you, and until the end of the round, enemies cannot engage with you, and you cannot deal damage to enemies. So that's a way of sort of enemy management. Very handy. I'm sure will be very handy in the Devourer below if we can get it out. That's In the Shadows. Her signature weakness is shadow agents. So it's an enemy weakness. They are humanoid cultists. They have Hunter. They're 3 attack, 3 strength, and 5 agility. While Shadow Agents is engaged with you, you cannot discover clues except by investigating. After Shadow Agents is evaded, discard it. So it's just, you can fight them or you just simply have to evade them. Not too bad at all. And then the random weakness that she drew was Day of Reckoning. A couple of investigators have had this one. It's not too bad. Basically, you attach it to the current agenda, you seal the Chaos token, and essentially you've lost the Chaos token until the agenda flips. So sometimes that can be relatively quickly, or it can really just hang around. So with other investigators, it's come in the second agenda, and so for the rest of the game, essentially, you don't have the Elder Sign token. No big deal, really. Again, fairly okay to manage that. So there we go. Now the other thing is, I should have added this, but Trish does start with a horror. She did take trauma from the Gathering, so she starts with 1 horror trauma. So that means she is down to 5. So we've got to manage our horror quite importantly. That could be a problem as we go through. So I think that's all. We're all set up here in Octagon. Trish, I had a chat to Trish in the trailer. Thank you to Miskatonic Trailers, as always. I had a chat to Trish in the trailer. She was a bit shaken by the Gathering. I think she felt she would do better. She really got swamped towards the end. So she's really determined to do much, much better in the Midnight Masks. So we will see how she goes. She's just there at the house sizing things up. So we'll just read through the agenda and the act deck and then we can get going. So Predator or Prey. Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you too are being hunted. Resign, you don't want to risk taking too long, so you head to safety with the information you've gathered. And Act 1A, uncovering the conspiracy. You have 1 night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. Investigators spend 2 clues per investigator as a group. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. Objective: find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, wow, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Advance. Note, not all 6 of them are in the cultist deck. So there we go. So, as I said, we're all set up in Octagon. We've just got to... Oh, there it goes. As I said, we've just got to wait for the horn, but the horn is gone. The crowd goes wild. Trish waves a black leathered glove at the crowd, and we are ready to start episode 41 of season 2 of the Investigator Games. Okay, so what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Well, we want Leo DeLuca, we want weapons, and we want ways to get clues. Those are the things we want. Let's see what we do. Let's draw many. Let's draw 5. Let's see what we get. No Leo DeLuca in here. Okay, so that's not a good start. So I'm going to throw all, and no weapons. So I'm going to throw them all in because I want to make sure 3, 4, 5, and we'll draw many again. Draw another 5. See what we get. Still no Leo DeLuca. Ooh dear, that's a bit of a rough start there. 2 emergency counters, mind over matter, opportunist. Oh, this is really kind of quite a rubbishy hand now. Oh boy. Okay, well, we will go with what we've got. Nothing we can do about that. Elusive is okay, actually. An opportunist is okay. Mind over matter is pretty good. We might need that. But no weapons and no Leo DeLuca at all. So first action. Well, first action, let's avail ourselves of the facility and draw a card and get a resource. Okay, that's our first action. Well, I got a backstab, that's something. Second action, I'm going to go ahead and investigate. So we're talking about a 2 versus a 4. A 2 versus a 4, so we're 2 up. Let's go ahead and see what the Chaos Bag has. It's got a 0, so we get the clue, and then for our final action, we will move into Rivertown. There we go. So, yeah, not a great start in terms of our draw, I have to say. It's just not great. Elusive's a good card, but, we won't be running out of money, but we've got nothing really much to spend the money on at the moment. So, no Leo DeLuca, no weapons. But, so anyway, we first action, we drew a card, gained a resource. Second action, we got the clue, and third action, we moved into Rivertown. So that's at least something. We can get the clue at Rivertown next time and get ourselves out our first cultist. So let's move forward into the enemy phase, or yes, the enema phase as I like to call it. And there are no enemies or enemies to speak of. So we'll move into upkeep, get a flashlight. Well, that's something we can spend our money on, which can be vaguely helpful. Okay, so the first doom goes down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it has a false lead, no clues. If you've got no clues, it gains surge. But we do have a clue. If you have 1 or more clues, test 4. For each point you fail by, place 1 of your clues on your location. Well, we're a 4. I could spend that, but to be honest, if we drop it here, it's not a big deal. It's only a Shroud of 1. So let's go ahead. 4 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -3. I'm glad we didn't do anything. So we dropped the clue here with false lead. Oh, for each point you fail by, well, we've only got 1 clue. So there we go. So there we go. So, yep, we will move into investigation phase. 3 actions on to Trish. First action, let's go ahead and investigate. So a 1 versus a 4, and we get a skulls, and skulls are currently 0, so we can get that clue. There we go. Second action, we will do it again. A 1 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a +1 this time, and we get the other clue. There we go. Well, third action, let's go ahead and throw in those clues. Doink. And let's see who we get. Shuffle this up. And we get Wolfman Drew in downtown. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the thing is when you're playing true solo, unless you're a real fighty character, Wolfman Drew isn't a great draw. because you don't want to use up all your resources on fighting him when you've got the Masked Hunter. So I think we'll just leave him there for now and focus on getting, maybe pop into the graveyard and get some more clues. So that was pretty straightforward round. We got the 2 clues and then we brought out Wolfman Drew. So next time, let's pop into the graveyard and get some more clues there. We move into the enemy phase. Well, Wolfman Drew's not doing anything. We move into upkeep. We get Working a Hunch. That's a nice card because we should keep that, because if we find ourselves with an enemy like a Hunting Night Gaunt, we can pop it out. We get a clue and we can automatically evade an enemy. So, yeah. Or you can use it to get an extra clue if the enemy's already evaded. So it can be used in a couple of ways. Quite a nice card to have, so that's good. Okay, so we move into the Mythos phase. 2 Doom are down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got a locked door. It's got a locked door with the most clues. Well, there are no clues anyway, so let's stick the locked door at the house. That happens quite a few times, doesn't it? So that's good that we got those clues. We'll stick the locked door at the house. We can move forward. So there we go. All right, let's move into the investigation phase. Things are going pretty okay for Trish so far, considering what a bad draw she got at the beginning. Here we are. We move into the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 cards already in hand, haven't we? So we're going to start losing cards. So what I might do is I am going to spend an action and spend 2 and bring out the flashlight so we don't start losing cards. I want to have something there. Let's do that first. Second action, let's move into the graveyard. Whee! Into the graveyard. Now, to move into the graveyard, we're talking about a test, willpower test of 3. I don't think we have any way of dealing with this. I mean, we could throw in Opportunist, but to be honest, I don't want to waste it on that. So we'll probably fail this. A 2 versus a 3 was a Chaos Bag, have -1. So we take 2 horror, don't we? Yeah, so we'll take the 2 horror. Can't do that too many times, but we take the 2 horror. And then the final action, let's go ahead and investigate. So we're a 1 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -3, so we succeed and we get the clue. So that's good. So that was a pretty kind of okay round. We brought out the flashlight. Obviously, we're not going to use the flashlight here. We then moved into the graveyard. Unfortunately, we took some horror to do that. And then we got the clue. Now, like I said, I could use Working a Hunch here to get the other clue, but I actually want to keep Working a Hunch. I want to keep my powder dry on that one because, you know, if we get a Hunting Night Gaunt, we can get the other clue and we can evade the Hunting Night Gaunt, no worries. And I think that's a much better way of using Working a Hunch for Trish. So we'll move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of. We will move into upkeep and we get Sneak Attack. Nice card to have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 cards, so we've just got to be careful that we don't end up having to chuck stuff away. So that's the other thing we're going to have to think about, is doing something with all these cards. I mean, I guess if we lost an emergency cash, but because we've got lots of cash, so we could probably lose an emergency cash and it wouldn't be a big deal because I don't want to waste too much time. Okay, let's move into the third Mythos phase. There's 3 down. We're halfway through. Let's see what the encounter deck has, and it has an Acolyte. Well, there we go. It has an Acolyte. I'm thinking I might put the Acolyte at Miskatonic University because then we can use our Working a Hunch and we can sort of get a bit efficient there with that. I think that's a good way to use it. But we've just got to be aware of, we still don't have any weapons. I mean, we've got Mind Over Matter, of course, but we've got Backstab, I guess, and we've got Sneak Attack. So we've got a couple of things I guess we could use on the Masked Hunter, but it would be really great to get a weapon. Anyway, okay, so, yep, So we will move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Trish. Okay, so the first action, we're going to get this clue. 1 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a auto fail. Oh dear. Well, let's try that again. 1 versus 4. Yes, that's a success. So there we go. We get the other clue. And we get our first victory point. And the crowd goes wild. Yes, so we've got our victory points. We've got 1 action left. So we could move into Rivertown. So the thing is, if Leo DeLuca does come up, we would end up with not a lot of money very quickly. And we're going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got 8. So do we move or do we... I might throw in the emergency cash and give ourselves 3 more resources. Yep. Okay, that was my 3rd action. So that was a kind of a... It was okay round because we failed and then we got the clue and we got a victory point and then we've used our emergency cash. So we've got lots of cash. So if we get something like a Hard Knocks, we get a Leo DeLuca, we get a weapon, we get hyper awareness, we get any of these things, we've got plenty of resources to use them. We're just not drawing into those things at the moment. So let's move into the enemy phase. The enemies aren't doing anything, so we'll move into upkeep, and we do get the Derringer. So there we go. We've now got the Derringer, which is great. Okay, that's better. Okay, we've got some weaponry now. Cool. Okay, we will move into Mythos phase. 4 Doom, there's 5 Doom, so we've got to get rid of this Acolyte this time. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Okay. Really? Another Acolyte. Okay, so that changes things. Is there any way we can stop the... So we could move... We could kill first Acolyte. No. We can't stop it. So now we can't stop it from flipping. So what I'm going to do is... And all the Doom's going to get lost. I'm just going to leave them now. I think we're going to have to face the fact that the Mars Hunter is going to be upon us. And all the Doom's going to flip. So we've just got to prepare ourselves for that. So let's rather than... There's no point us trying to fight it now. It's going to flip no matter what. There's no way, because we can't put the Acolytes together. We can't kill them both at the same time. We're just going to have to wear the fact that it's going to flip over and we'll have the Mars Hunter. Yep. So move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Trish. Now, what do we do here? So there's a couple of things we can do here. There's no point wasting time moving because the Mars Hunter is going to be upon us. So there's a couple of things we can do. Now, we've got a full hand of cards as well. So there's not a lot we can do in terms of... I mean, we can draw more cards, I suppose. So one of the things we could do is we could just draw more cards, draw into more stuff. We could do that. We could... Yeah, bring out the Derringer would probably be something we would want to do. The other thing we could do is we could spend our 2 clues and see if we get Herman Collins, because that would give us... That would be the other thing to do. Or are we better off drawing into... Well, let's do that first. Okay, so first action, let's just go ahead and spend the 2 clues and see who we get. Let's shuffle it up, and we get Peter Warren. Okay, so Peter Warren's sitting in Miskatonic University, so we've got that, so we know where he is. So that's the first thing that we'll do. Okay, so we've still got 2 actions left. Second action, I think. Let's bring out the Derringer. So we've got the Derringer ready. And then third action, I don't normally like to do this, but why don't we just draw a card for our final action? Get the magnifying glass, which is not really what we wanted, although I think maybe with Mind Over Matter it might be helpful. So there we go. That was our 3 actions. So yeah, I think we're kind of ready for the Masked Hunter. I think there's things we can do. I think so. So let's move into the enemy phase. Just the enemies do what they're doing. So let's move into upkeep. Now we get Leo DeLuca. Okay, we've got to throw something away here. Ooh. Well, Leo DeLuca would cost us 5. Probably emergency cash then. Or is the magnifying glass? No, because if we do Mind Over Matter. So I probably will get rid of the emergency cash. It's kind of a little bit late for Leo to turn up, but, you know, if we can get him out, it's going to be helpful. Yes. Okay. So let's move into the Mythos phase. There we go. The Doom has flipped. Let's bring that out. Flip the card. Hello, Trish. Oh, you seem a bit low on things here. Not time for me to bash you. And let's put time is running short up here. So the minutes pass quickly, and yes, we're in Agenda 2A. Okay. And then before we move forward, let's see what the encounter deck has. Hello. And it's got Obscuring Fog. Attach it to your location. So there's a fog in the graveyard. It's got very atmospheric in the graveyard all of a sudden. There's fog and everything. So here we are. So there we go. So let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Trish. Now what do we do here? I've just got to remember. Alright, so discover 1 or more clues. Well, there's no clues to discover here. It's not about investigation. So we can't use that. So let's not worry about that. But it would be good to have Leo DeLuca out. So I think the first thing to do would probably be to try and evade the Masked Hunter. Let's take the slow game here. So the first thing we'll do is we'll look to evade the Masked Hunter. We're a 4, he's a 2, so we're 2 up. Oh, these dooms have gone. Yeah, so there's no doom on the table. So first action, let's evade the Masked Hunter. And we get an Elder Sign. Oh, where have you gone? So we'll just leave him there. Elder Sign, +2. If this is an investigation, it isn't. So it's not. Okay, so we've evaded the Masked Hunter. That's our first action. Second action, let's bring out Leo DeLuca. Yep. So we'll bring out the Leo DeLuca. I mean that has two benefits, of course. First of all, we get an extra action, so we're back up to 2 actions, and also it just gives us more of a soak. Okay, we've still got 2 actions left. What do we do now? Well, I think this is good to use, but I think you want all your turns to use Mind Over Matter. So I think I will spend 2, and I will sneak attack and do 2 damage to an exhausted enemy. So we do 2 damage. Ow! So we do a sneak attack. We've still got 1 action left. Now we could do a backstab on him. He's a 2 and we are a 4. And we could use Opportunist to make that a 5 on a 2. I'm liking that. But we don't have the money. Was that our... We got 1 action left, haven't we? Yeah, because we evaded the Masked Hunter. We brought out Leo DeLuca, which means we still had... Hold on, we started with 3 actions. We evaded the Masked Hunter, so we had 2 actions. We brought out Leo DeLuca, which means we then had 2 actions. We've then sneak attacked the Mouse Hunter. So we've got 1 action left. Yeah, maybe we should have used backstab instead. We can still use backstab. And I think it was good to use sneak attack, while he was evaded. So we've got 1 action left. So we've got 2 choices here. We could either get another resource, because we're going to need... If we did backstab, we'd need 3, 4. We got 2. I think we take a resource, because resources is what we need. So I'm going to take a resource. There we go. So there we go. We've got a good start on the Mars Hunter. We've done 2 points of damage. He's still got 4 left, but I think we can look to finish him off next time. So let's move into the other thing we could have done is fight 4 on a 4. I didn't think about that. Not really. No. So let's leave that. Okay. Let's move into the enemy phase. Enemies just sit there. Let's move into upkeep. Mars Hunter is back on us. Yep. Okay, and we get another Derringer. I don't think we need 2, so we could use the fight pip for that. Although maybe on Wolfman Drew, well, he's pretty difficult. Anyway, let's move into the Mythos phase. The first Doom is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Oh, okay. Wings of Darkness. Test 4, if you fail, take damage and horror, and then move to a central location. That's kind of a pain. That is a real pain. But again, I don't want to commit these cards to it, so I think we just go ahead and see how we do. And did we just draw another Elder Sign? We did. We drew another Elder Sign. Wow. 2 Elder Signs in a row. So we pass. Wow. Incredible. Okay, there we go. That was incredible. So we'll move into the investigation phase. 4 actions onto Trish. Now, we've got a few options here. We could backstab. So that would be one of the things we could do. So it would be a 4, but it would be a 4 versus a 4. So we would need to pump that with something else. So we could make it a 5 versus a 4. We could even use elusive and make it a 6 versus a 4. If we succeed, we'll do +2 damage. So we will finish him off if we do that. So that would be a one-off. We'd lose elusive. We could even throw in Mind Over Matter and make it a 7 versus a 4, so we could really put ourselves up. But he wouldn't be dead. He would just be 5. He would still have a point of damage. That's one thing we could do. The other thing would be to use Mind Over Matter. So you would be using... You would have a 4, so we'd be fighting at a 4. So until there, you may use fight in place of your... Okay, so then when we would fight... Let me think about this. So, yeah, so I think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, because if we fight with the Derringer, we'll be getting a 4 fight. Versus a 4. Using Mind Over Matter would give us a 4 intellect versus a 4. So they're both +4 versus 4. The difference is we've got a few intellect pips we can use. The problem is Mind Over Matter only does 1 damage. Whereas if you succeed by 2 or more, but then the chances of us succeeding by 2 or more is fairly low. Okay, so I'm thinking that actually backstab is probably a good idea in the first place, and then maybe mind over matter. So let's do the backstab first. So let's spend 3. And let's play backstab. So we are fighting using our agility. So our agility is 4. So it's a 4 versus a 4. We can make that a 5 versus a 4. We can make that a 6 versus a 4. So we can make that a 6 versus a 4. 6v4, 2 up. Yep. So let me just look at that again. So we're 4 versus 4. 5 versus 4, 6 versus 4. So we're 2 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. And it is indeed, we've succeeded. So we 6, 5, 4. So we succeed. We put a Doom onto Mass Hunter. But we do 3 points of damage with a backstab. Wow, that's great. Ow! So we've nearly killed. That was our first action. Wow. Okay. Second action, I think the thing to do is to use mind over matter. So we are again a 4 versus a 4, but we can make that a 5, 6, 7. We can make that a 7 versus a 4. We can make that a 7 versus a 4. A 7 versus a 4. For 1 point of damage. Chaos Bag gives us a 0 and we succeed. Yay! Now we've still got that, but we do another point of damage. And the Mass Hunter falls. Ah! There we go. And the crowd goes wild. Wow. That was our second action. We've got no cards left, but we've managed to get rid of the Mass Hunter. That's fantastic. Woo! So a combination of backstab and mind over matter. So the question is now, what do we do? We've got no money. We've got no cards. I think we stay here, and I think we take 2 actions. I'm going to draw a card and then get a resource. Wow. So there we go. What a round for Trish that was. So the first thing that we did was we backstabbed successfully the Mass Hunter and did 3 points of damage. Ah, yes. So he was then up to 5. And then that's right, because we sneak attacked him before, so he already had 2. We backstabbed him for 3, and then we used mind over matter, and we did the final point of damage and killed the Masked Hunter. We then drew a resource and drew a card, and we got another backstab, so that's good, because now I'm thinking we could possibly get rid of Wolfman Drew. So that's great. So I think next time, I think the thing that we could look to do is to go over and get Peter Warren, I'm thinking that might be a thing that we could look to do, but there's also the Acolyte there, so we've just got to think about all of that. So let's move into the enemy phase. There are enemies, but they're not doing anything. Let's move into upkeep. We get another Leo DeLuca. There you go. So let's move into the Mythos phase. There are 2 Doom down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. I knew it was only a matter of time. You get a Hunting Night Gaunt. Yes, a Hunting Night Gaunt. All right. Okay, so let's move into our investigation phase. 3 actions onto Trish. So what are we going to do here? I'm just looking at a special ability, discover 1 or more clues. Well, there are no clues. So the biggest problem with the graveyard is we can't use that ability because we don't have any clues to discover here. All right, so what do we do? We can just try and evade the Night Gaunt, or we could backstab the Night Gaunt and then try and shoot the Night Gaunt. And get rid of him, because he'll he'll keep harassing us otherwise. Oh, it's 4 actions, isn't it? Yeah. Biggest problem is backstab would give us a 4 versus a 3. So it'd be a 4 versus a 3. So we're only 1 up, which, you know, means we could be wasting the backstab. So I think rather than wasting the backstab, I think I'm going to go ahead and evade. 1 versus a 4. 1 versus a 4. The Chaos Bag gives us an auto fail, so good job we didn't try and do anything there. So let's try again. 1 versus a 4. We get another auto fail. Wow, 2 in a row. Let's go again. -3. Nope. Oh, do we tempt fate and try and backstab him? Oh, we can't even spend it. We don't have the money to spend. We could try and shoot him. So that would give us a 4, wouldn't it? 4 versus 4. 4 versus 3. So what I might do is I might try and... Oh, no, but that's not going to kill him, is it? Let's try... this is really annoying. Let's try and evade him one last time. Well, aren't we better off shooting him and then taking some damage and horror? How much? If we succeed by 2 or more, so we might only do 1 point of damage with the Derringer. Feels like a waste. I think we should try and evade him, and we do evade him this time. So we managed to evade him. Well, that was all just a bit of a waste of time, but we got 2 auto fails in a row. My goodness. We've had 2 Elder Signs and now 2 auto fails. So we managed to evade the Hunting Knight Gaunt. So we're going to have to deal with him again next time. So enemy phase, nothing to speak of here. So we move into upkeep. We get the 0.25 automatic. That's a much better weapon than the Derringer for sure. Okay. So we move into the Mythos phase, 3 Doom. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Okay. Attached to your location. Well, it can't, so I guess it just goes because there's already 1 there. Okay. So we'll move into investigation phase, 4 actions onto Trish. So we can either... do we try and kill him? Do we try and evade him again? I just feel like, even though we wasted it, I just feel like trying to shoot him is just really difficult. This would be better, the 0.25 automatic, but I want to really get over to Miskatonic University and do some stuff there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and evade him again. Oops, wrong thing. Try and evade him again. -4. Nope. Let's try him again. Yes, Elder Sign. Okay. So that's a success. So we evade the Night Gaunt. Then we will move out of Graveyard into Rivertown. And final action. What do we do here? I think we draw a card. We're getting low on cards. Dark Ritual. Okay. All right, so next time I think we get ourselves into Miskatonic University and try and deal with Peter Warren and the Acolyte and try and get ourselves some victory points here. I think that's the best thing to do. All right, so let's move into the enemy phase. No enemies to worry about. Let's move into upkeep, get sneak attack. Yes, that's great. That is really, really good. That's fantastic. Okay. And then let's move into the Mythos phase. 4 Doom and down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Place 2 Doom on the nearest cultist enemy. One of these 2. Well, let's be on the safe side. Let's put it on the Acolyte here rather than here. Okay. Right, so we really need to get rid of him now. Okay, So let's move into the investigation phase. 4 actions onto Trish. Now, what are we going to do here? So I think the thing is we can move into here. So if we move in, we can automatically evade an enemy, or we can discover an additional clue. After you discover 1 or more clues, okay. So we could move in. We could use backstab on Peter Warren and immediately get him. So that's one of the things we could do. Then we could evade the Acolyte, and then we could get 2 clues at Miskatonic University. I think that works, and then the next time we can kill the Acolyte because he only takes 1 point of damage. Yeah. Just trying to think what the best thing to do is. So we can either discover a clue and get an automatic evasion, or we can discover a clue and get another clue. Yeah, so that probably is a better way to do it. So let's move in. Yep. So we've now got, he's not on us, he's here at the graveyard, isn't he? Got these 2 here. That was the first action. Second action, I'm going to spend 3. And I'm going to play backstab. So that's a 4 versus a 2 against Peter Warren. Let's make that a... I'm going to throw that in. Let's make that a 5 versus a 2. A 5 versus a 2. Chaos Bag gives me a -1. So I succeed. Do +2 damage. So that's 3 points of damage. Peter Warren has been backstabbed to death and is in the victory display, and the crowd goes wild. There we go. We've now got 4 victory points. Okay. Now, that was 2 actions. Third action, I'm going to evade the Acolyte. So we're a 4 versus a 2, so we're 2 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag is. +1. Yep, so he's evaded. Now, now I could now backstab him and kill him, but I actually want to do that because there's an enemy at the location. I can discover an additional clue. So I'm going to go ahead and investigate at a 2 versus a 4. 2 versus a 4, make that a 2 versus a 5. Let's make that a 2 versus a 5. Do we make it a 2? Let's make it a 2 versus a 6. Let's make this happen. Oh, for goodness sake. Seriously? Auto fail again. How many auto fails have we had? Okay. That didn't quite go according to plan. So we moved in to Miskatonic University. We backstabbed Peter Warren successfully, and we got a victory point. We then evaded the Acolyte. I didn't take one of these away. We then evaded the Acolyte, and then we looked to investigate at a 2 versus a 6, and we auto-failed. Otherwise, we would have got both of the clues. So I think we try that again next time. That was really, really disappointing. In the enemy phase, the Hunting Knight got moves to Rivertown. Move into Upkeep, we get Pickpocket. So move into the Mythos phase. There's now 7 Doom down, so we've got to get rid of this Acolyte this time. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Crypt Chill. Okay. I think we're going to fail this, so we're going to have to lose something for Crypt Chill. So we're a 2, it's a 4, so we're going to fail it, so let's just go ahead and fail it. Can you believe we've got another auto fail? Oh my goodness. So I think we lose the Derringer. Yeah, we'll lose the Derringer. Okay. So we'll move into the investigation phase. 4 actions onto Trish. Now, do we try it again? Do we evade and then investigate? And can we investigate 2 versus? Yes, we can. So I think we try it again. Let's see how we go. So first action, 2 versus a 4. Bring out pickpocket. So that's 2 versus a 5. Yep. Chaos bag gives us a -4. 2 versus 5. 5, but nope. Fail. Oh, dear. Oh, I just want to get the 2 clues. We'll do it again. 2 versus 4. Chaos bag gives us a -2, so we succeed. That was our second action. Now, we can either just kill the acolyte and then move away, or we could try and do... But the problem is, if we get these clues again, we're going to be hit with the Hunting Night Gaunt. So I don't want that to happen. I don't want to... Although... Is it the end of the world? We can soak it up. Yeah. I'm going to try again. I really want these clues. So let's use the flashlight again. So we're a 2 versus a 4. Chaos bag gives us another -2. So this time, yes, we succeed. And because eventually we get to use Trish's special ability. After you discover 1 or more clues in a location with an enemy, discover an additional clue. Yeah, we get both clues. Okay. Final action. We will spend 2. And we'll play sneak attack. And we will kill the acolyte. Dead. And we get rid of those 2. There we go. Oh, and the crowd goes wild because we get another victory point. Yay! There we go. So that's pretty good now. We're looking at 2, 3, 4. We've got a lot of victory points. And we've got a couple of cultists. So things are going pretty well. And we've still got some time on the board. So there you go. So in the enemy phase, the Hunting Night Gaunt engages us and we take a damage and a horror. Let's put the damage and the horror onto good old Leo DeLuca. And then let's move into the upkeep phase. We get Hyper Awareness, which would be good if we had the money, but we don't. And then we move into the Mythos phase, 6 Doom. We've got a couple of goes left. Let's see what the encounter deck has. The encounter deck has another acolyte. Oh boy. Another one. Let's just stick him here with the Doom. Yeah. Okay. So we'll move into the investigation phase. 4 actions onto Trish. Now, there's now 7 Doom. What more could we do? We could get another victory point. So we could evade and move up to Wolfman Drew. But then I don't think, even with the Derringer, we can really deal with him. We could try and get another victory point from Northside, though. So maybe that's the thing to do. Let's start by evading the Hunting Night Gaunt. 4 versus 1. Let's see what the Chaos Bag is. No way. We'll try again. Elder Signs. So many Elder Signs and auto fails. So we succeed. He's evaded. Okay, so we've got 2 actions left, but there are 7 Doom down on the table. So I think the best thing for us to do is to move so that we don't lose our victory point here and resign. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Turn 13, we ended up with 2, 3, 4. We ended up with 5 victory points. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 victory points for Trish. I think she did really, really well. It was just a little bit difficult to manage all of the acolytes and things that came out, but I think we did okay with the Mass Hunter. I often struggle with rogues. I don't find them very easy to play. Not my most favorite class, I have to say, but I think Trish did really, really well. She managed to get the 5 victory points by turn 13, so that was a pretty good outcome. So thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Now next time we will be taking Dexter Drake through the Midnight Mass. Yes, Dexter Drake, everyone's favourite magician, and I'm very much looking forward to that. But until next time, I'm Krabby Terror 8. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.